What's going on?
Hi,
Hi.
you're still inside.
Yeah, we're recording too.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties trying to do this, and we ended up still doing it in the same spot because we had it set up, and everything's cool now. So we're just starting it off.
Okay.
So we've been talking like all day, so I feel like it's been a day of just like virtually hanging out and having talks on the phone already.
Yeah.
We were talking about good stuff like just well, first I want to say like who you are. So
Okay.
you're my sister, and
Yep.
if anybody didn't know that, and we just have a spiritual connection, and I feel like we bonded over spirituality and just looking at life deeper than what's on the surface. So like what made you like start getting into all this stuff and just like following Instagram accounts and just like eating healthier and all that stuff? Like what made you start getting into that?
So honestly, it was pain. Every month, I was in a lot of pain, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I would like have to miss 3 days of school every month from that pain. And that's when I just started researching like how to take this pain away. So that's what led me to veganism, to be vegan. That is what takes the pain away. And also that made me realize like fluoride is bad. And then I went down what they call the rabbit hole. So that's what led me
Yeah.
to be more spiritual. And it's like just once you start one thing, it just keeps growing and building.
Yeah, for sure. That's the same with me. Like, and I feel like for me, it was like more just like maybe like emotional pain of just like realizing everything that I thought like in the world like wasn't true, and just like my childhood just like breaking down, like because everything you think, just like everything you think, and like life is just always changing and stuff. So like for me, it was more just like my personal life started changing, and then I realized that the whole world was changing and like not what I thought. And like I feel like everyone's kind of feeling like that right now, just with the pandemic and everything. Like it's not everything's not what we thought, and we kind of getting used to it, but it still kind of feels like what's happening.
Yeah. It makes you realize that not everything is as it seems. And it really humbles you as well.
Yeah.
It makes you realize like one, we really are all connected. Because right now we're all going through the global pandemic together. And then two, just makes you realize that.
And we're way connected in many more ways than just that. That's what we need to realize, is we're way more connected than just politics or something like that. Like we're just all in this world together. We're all humans. Like we're all like born, like we're all divine. And if we realize like how connected we were in if we realize how connected we were in the infinite amount of other ways than the ways that we were divided and different, we would just live in a way more harmonious society, I feel like, and just a way better world.
Yeah. I feel like we are living in a much more harmonious society.
Yeah.
At least like in my reality.
Yeah. And it's just like what you create for the life you create for yourself.
Yeah, I just learned that we create our reality, and that includes our past as well. Like we can recreate memories in our head on how we wanted them to go, and then that will actually manifest more beautiful memories to be made.
Go deeper in that. That's interesting. Yeah, no, like I want you to go like explain it more, but I just know about your memories, like past, future, like when you can relive memories and still feel that same energy. in the present
Yeah,
moment.
exactly.
Traumatic, a lot of stuff, happy moments.
Yeah. So the first time I heard about this was, it was a story where basically this man, he had never gave money to homeless people because he felt like it was like they were like just stealing from him, and like they didn't really need it. That whole like they can work for it themselves, that type of thing.
Yeah,
And then one day,
handouts.
yeah, exactly. One day, this man came up to him, asking for some money, and he just felt really honest. He was just like, I don't want to give you this money because, um, basically, sorry, I'm having. He said, I don't want to give you this money because you, wait, hold on, I gotta think about the story.
Take your time.
Yeah, I need to slow down. I got this sweatshirt on. I'm always like moving too
Yeah,
fast, but I need to slow down. Okay, so this is what happened. So
that's all of us.
yeah, this man came up to him, asked him for some money, and he was just like, no, not today. And the man was pretty polite. He's like, okay, well, thank you, and walked away. And then the main guy, he sat there for a moment and he closed his eyes and recreated that moment in his head. And instead of just saying no, not today to him, he said, I would give you money, but I feel like you can just go and get a job. And he was just honest with him. So he recreated that moment in his head and then went on about his day. Then, like a couple weeks later, the man comes up to him. He sees the same homeless guy. He comes up to him. He says, that day, I don't know what happened, but I decided to go get a job and I've been making a lot of money since then. And so I
Wow,
say that to say him recreating that memory in his head actually recreated it in his reality. And the man really did go and get a job.
that's crazy.
So yeah,
Yeah,
if we do that with like painful memories in our own head, we can actually recreate our realities and bring positivity into our future.
I believe that. I definitely believe that.
Yeah.
And the same goes for your future. Like right now, if you imagine where you want to be in the future, even doing this podcast right now, like this is something we imagine doing. And it was thoughts and ideas like a while ago that are coming to fruition right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely believe that for the past too. Like I don't think that I don't think anything in this universe is set in stone. I think we can, if we really put our minds to something, we can change like whatever we want, not just in like, thank you, not just in like fucking like politics or any like system we have in place right now. I just think like deeper, like really way more like universal and like science fiction sounding, like just with like kind of like time travel or something like that, just like
Mm-hmm.
parallel
Yeah, I
universes
was
and like
thinking about
changing
it like that.
timelines and stuff
Yeah,
like
I was
that.
thinking about that because basically, when that guy recreated the memory in his head, he
Yeah,
kind of like time traveled back, and then
yeah,
it caused it to actually happen in the future.
yeah. So like what if like all those like science fiction things, like they're not, like maybe there could be a time machine or something like that, but maybe it's not like something external. It's something like in you that you're able to do. Like if you go within yourself and like maybe we're just grasping like human potential.
Mm-hmm. I think so because everybody was saying like last year, December 21st, 2020. That's when everybody was getting their superpowers, and it actually seems like that. And it's not
Yeah,
like just like snap, you can fly, but it's just like
yeah,
eventually like they're slowly growing and you're slowly like opening your mind to what you can do.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've
it's
been
just
feeling like I got more telekinesis powers.
I've been feeling that too. I think the more you get off your phone and actually disconnect from technology and all the distractions, that's when you really get in tune with like your powers. Like I believe they're powers, but I think people hear you powers and it like throws them the wrong way on like what they think. Because I think we have been like a little misled from the movies and stuff. But
Yeah, I was thinking that too,
yeah,
that just they make things like the stuff that's in the movies is real. It's just they make it so like overly concentrated that it's like you think it's just going to be like, oh, I can run with super speed. But in actuality, it's not that you can run with super speed. It's that you can like move with super speed in your mind.
Wow.
But they just made it seem so fictional that we don't believe that we actually have powers when we do.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And something I wrote this down like because I wanted to talk about it in the podcast. And it was like a story from Wayne Dyer. Do you know him?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he was like a motivational speaker and like spiritual, like one of like the OGs, like from like a couple of decades ago. I think he's passed now. And he just told a story about this dude that lost his keys, and the way he said it was like way better than I'm gonna, and like a little more of a story. But this dude lost his keys or dropped his keys, and then the power went out in his house, and then because he couldn't see, he went under the street lamp, like out, like he left his house and went under the street lamp in the street, and then his neighbor was helping him look for the key, and because he was looking under the light, he thought like, oh, look under the light, I can't see in the house, I'm gonna look under the light in the street. And then his neighbor was like, was helping him look and he couldn't find it. He's like, do you know where you dropped it? He's like, I dropped it in the house. And then he was just like what and like you're laughing and everybody in the crowd in the video is laughing, and he's like, you guys are laughing, it sounds stupid, right? And he's like, well, that's like people that lose something like within themselves and like start looking for it like in external things, like looking for stuff outside of themselves. And he's like, that's what everyone's doing. And I was just like, wow, like that was so powerful.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That's deep.
You know, because like it might be dark in yourself. Say like you go and like your body's the house, and then you go into the street, like under the street lamp, like something outside of you to like fill that light, fill that void. But like really you just gotta like work on it and like find it like within yourself and like go through the darkness, like I guess wait for the light to turn back on.
And if he stayed in the house, his night vision would have activated.
Yeah. That's true. That's funny. And even if you sit in a room and like first it's like all dark and then your eyes adjust and you're like, you can see like way better than right away.
Yeah, because I had went on this nature walk at night in the Poconos, and she basically had us walking through the park. At first it was all dark, and then soon we started being able to see. And then she goes, cover one eye. So we all covered one eye, and then she lit a match, and we all were like staring at the flame. And then she blew it out, and then she was like, now uncover that eye and cover the other eye. And when we uncovered the eye that we looked at the flame with, we couldn't see anything. And then when we covered the eye that we didn't look at the flame with, we could see everything. Wow. And then she told us that what pirates actually wore eye patches for was not because something was wrong with their eye, was to save their night vision in the other eye, and then have like their light vision in the other one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
Yeah, because the light can be blinding.
Yeah. The Weeknd is that.
I
said The Weeknd is that.
Oh. I'll be right back. I have to run to the bathroom. I don't know if you can pause it.
Go to the no, just go to the bathroom. I'll start talking.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I had other stuff I wanted to say. All right. Yeah. Basically, like something I put in this promo video that I did for this podcast, I made it, and at the end I just put Wayne Dyer, who I've been like watching a lot. He's been like a cool influence, and just something he like read like the Tao Te Ching, and he was like, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. And that's something I realized like this past week, and I've just been realizing more is like even our words in the English language and any language and language itself is a barrier, and it like you can't get across true ideas. Like we were talking about like telekinesis and like intuition. Like there's some things that are bigger than language and just like thought downloads and universal downloads and whatever you want to call it really, because again it's just language, it's just a barrier, it's not the true thing, and the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Like what we're seeing right now isn't what this universe truly is. It's just how we're perceiving it with our eyes and all our senses. And that's something that just blows my mind. And it's so crazy to think about. Yo,
Hola.
the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. What do you think of that?
The vow or the doubt?
The Tao, the way,
The
like
Tao?
the way that can be told is not the eternal way.
Mm. So first hearing that, I feel like, so the way that's actually happening is like just in your mind.
And like I feel like just like the God that we think or the universe or whatever source, like that's not true source. Like saying like you're a soul in a body isn't truly what you are. It's just an attachment. It's some label we have for it, but it's not what it truly is, you know?
Mm.
And language is a barrier. It's such a barrier. Like you were
Language,
saying.
even
Yeah.
sound is a barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Because sound, yeah.
And there's animals that can hear different sounds than us. Like we're so limited actually from what truly is. And we think we're like top, like apex, like top of the food chain. Like we're small three-dimensional beings, you know? We're very powerful and divine and important. And we're just a part of something way bigger. And everyone needs to realize that. And that realization has like changed my life. Like it's like made me like way more like just spiritual. Everyone knows that knows me is knows that I become a spiritual person, and I feel like everyone could be a spiritual person. Just like realize like what I've realized about the world.
Yeah, we are all spiritual beings for sure.
Yeah,
it's just
we all have
about,
it in us.
Yeah.
And it's not
Really
doing
accepting.
something or being somebody. Like it's like whatever you want, and just to me, really, it's just like that realization that there's more to the world. And then when you realize that, you just start looking at everything differently, and you start treating people differently and taking experiences differently, and just again, like the world just changes. And that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So that's what I'll say.
Yep. Perspective.
Yeah.
Ooh, can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perspective. Yeah.
Like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Perspective. Perspective is
Yeah, I
so
realized,
important.
yeah, like even like my perspective has changed on all the cliche things. Like you said, when you grow, like you realize you start treating people differently.
Yeah.
And I always heard the golden rule, like treat others the way you want to be treated. Like we all heard that. But like my perspective on that has really changed, because it's just like once you start seeing other people as yourself, that's when you really can start treating other people the way you want to be treated, because they are you.
That changed everything for me when I realized that. Just like talk
Me
like
too.
And right now, just like that can like we're a mirror, like reflect, like we're the same thing talking to itself. And it's just our egos that separate us and make us think like, oh, I'm me and you're you, you know. But we're really just one big consciousness having fun with itself. It's crazy.
Yeah. When you said that, I just thought of this study that they did. So it was like on an island or something. They had people who were like on the island do this test. it was like this mind test or something, and nobody could understand it. And then like sometime later, they had people who were on the mainland do the same test, and everybody got it. And they were just like, how did the people understand it, like seeing it for the first time, and these people didn't understand it? And it wasn't just because it was like a different culture or something. It was that the people who understood it just naturally, like through mind waves and the stuff we can't see, passed it on to the people who are on the main coast. And it like proved that we are really all one. Wow. And they like did this test in like a bunch of different areas, and it was the same results every time.
What was the test again? My bad.
So the test was that the people who were on the island, I don't know exactly what the test was, but it was something that like nobody would get just from like looking at it, because it like kind of made no sense or something like that.
Intuitively knew it.
So the people who first saw it didn't know, but then when they ran the test on people who never saw it before and like were in a different room or a different space, they all knew it.
That's interesting. What do you think? Why do you think they did? Why do you think they knew?
So they said they knew because the people who figured it out just like telekinetically like told the others, just through like the waves and the stuff we can't see. And
like after they did it, they were like, oh, we know how to do it. We're gonna tell you how to do it.
Exactly.
And not even like it was like, it might not even been a conscious thing. It might have just been like it added to the consciousness of the people.
Exactly.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Because like that's even like when someone like tells you how to do something, like then like they just be like being around you. Like I've had an experience like that where someone like they were just like, oh, just like you just do it. And then by them just being around me and like saying that, like I was able to like I was messing with this VR headset and I couldn't really get it on my head. And then this dude was like, just do it. And then like after he said that, like I was able to like figure it out. I don't know. It felt like a thought download though. Like it felt like as soon as he was like around, it was just like you just do it. Like he like in that like just do it. Like he still sent his knowledge of like how to do it.
That's a good point. Yeah, even just being around you, like I feel more spiritually enlightened.
Yeah.
And like I
feel like people feel that with the podcast, and that's I'm just grateful for, and like so grateful.
Yeah,
I just love being around people and talking to people. So this is like amazing.
Yeah, I'm the type of person I like have conversations with all my Ubers. And one time I had this Uber, and I was in the South at the time, and like she was like real country, and like every time I would like talk to her, she's like, okay, all right,
yeah,
and like she's like okay, and like but every time she said okay, she said it in a different tone, and it meant something completely different.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's like a form of telekinesis, like being able to understand people's tone and stuff.
Yeah.
In that context, that's like baby telekinesis in a way.
And the what?
The context.
What are you talking about?
Like she kept saying okay, but every time she said it,
the context, yeah,
and I could understand what she was saying, even though she was just saying the same exact word.
Yeah,
it was like a different meaning, and I like could get it every time.
Everything, just like reading, and you can like feel people's energies. Like someone negative comes in the room, like you can feel that. You can feel their aura. You can feel it, like, you know. So it's way deeper than just. It's way deeper than any like just like sounds. It's like just people's energies, and we're all like,
especially when somebody positive too comes in the room. It's like you feel that too, like instantly.
Yeah.
Especially with babies.
Apparently, like the Buddha's aura was like, you feel it with babies a lot, and the Buddha's aura was apparently like big enough for like other towns to feel it like around him. That's what I read. Who knows?
That makes sense.
Yeah, But yeah, babies light up a room because they're just pure souls, pure energy.
Yeah.
The Matrix is what corrupts everybody. The Matrix sucks.
What do you mean?
Just like everyone comes in this world as like a pure soul, and then the Matrix just indoctrinates everybody. And everyone gets all uptight, starts worrying about money and all stupid stuff and not human stuff.
That's interesting because I felt like the Matrix is the world. And I feel like you can choose how you wanna...
even being in this, even coming to Earth, like going to Earth in general is just going to the Matrix, like just coming, like even if like say like we eliminated all like economic systems and government and all that stuff, like, and we just like lived off the land and like old humans, I guess, or as we're told, maybe they could have been more advanced ancient civilizations, but
definitely.
we just like lived off the land, like that would still be being in the Matrix, just in this 3D realm,
Yep.
as a human being. So yeah, like you said, the world is just the Matrix. But I mean, when I say the Matrix, I more mean like the system that we're born into,
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And like with the Matrix and the system, these are all computer and technology terms.
Yeah.
So like we can override the system. We can like recode the system. Like the power is really in our hands.
Facts.
And our brains, like the computer of our body. Like I feel like we are all technology.
We are. We're like divine technology.
Yep. And we get programmed.
Yeah. I think
technology. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
I think technology is just trying to mimic us, really.
Yeah. Like the Tesla AI robot.
Exactly.
You see that?
Exactly. That.
I didn't even look into that much, but I just saw it and I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't either.
I was just, yeah. Did you look into that? Anything? What's up?
It doesn't fully sit right in my spirit, so I didn't want to really dive into that.
Yeah.
And I'm working on like activating my own power, so like I'm really trying not to dive into something and put my energy to something that I feel like might take that away.
Yeah, I feel that. Just like with any technology, like I said, like the true growth comes when you disconnect from all that, and like you just actually go within and like just get off your fucking phone and go in the backyard and just hang out, and you're gonna have like way better thoughts and feel way better than if you're just on social media all the time.
Yeah, whenever I'm out, like I'm out with friends or something and my phone dies, it's like I really tap into the moment and it just takes me so much higher, and it just makes
I want to start being like that no phone guy. Just like no, like that's not like I mean, it might be a person, but just like the person like no phones like around me,
Like yeah. I actually
I remember my grandma. Yeah, my grandma got mad at me. Or I got mad at my grandma because I was like, this was like in 7th grade, and we were in Disney World, and she was just like, no phones at the table, and I remember I got mad. But like now, what is that? That was 2014. 7 years later, I'm like, now I'm doing it. So it just takes time, and like you just gotta have faith and like let things run its course. Sometimes I feel like I used to play video games all the time and stuff, and I don't really play anymore. Like I just think you gotta let things run its course and not like pressure anybody, and like realize everyone's on their own spiritual journey at their own pace, in their own time zone, in their own divine timing. So you can't like run. Like that's something like I would like talk about like myself, like just wanting to put the red pill down everyone's throat and just like wake everyone up or something like that. But you just gotta let everyone discover themselves at their own time. And like you said this like a while ago, but like everything's meant to be, and like some people like are meant to just come in this life and like never like realize stuff, and like maybe that's the balance of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, Yeah, because honestly, like, I'm happy you put down the video games, because once you put them down, you realize that we are the video game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything around
The
us.
coolest video game you could ever play.
Yeah.
And I think this is GTA, and like, or no, I literally wrote in my journal, I was like, this is Minecraft. I'd rather like want to believe that we're in Minecraft instead of GTA, because GTA is crazy, but Minecraft is a more peaceful world. So I'd rather say like we're in Minecraft right now. And once you realize that, and that, again, that's just a label, not the real thing, but I think we're just souls that come into this like body, because it's just how we play GTA and want to go into another world and like just play as like a different character. Like that could be like our higher self, like wanting to be a human, like be a three-dimensional being and experience what it's like to feel, eat, like in the movie Soul, like what it's like to eat a pizza and stuff like that. Did you see that movie?
Yep.
Yeah. How they're like, they just like want to be she's like, oh, it feels so good to be a human,
Yeah, she ended up really liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. And that's something I've been hearing, is that we're a soul who chooses to come here at a certain time. So
Yeah.
like everybody who's here right now chose to be here at this specific time for a specific reason. And when you go within and like put your phone down and all that stuff, that's when you really remember your purpose. And you can really tap into what you want to do and who you want to be. So definitely.
How do you think
You
you can do that? Like, how can you think you tap? Like, how do you do that for someone if they
So
if they
personally,
didn't know how? Or
so
me?
for me right now, I'm really big into astrology. So remember the other day I was telling you that like our birthdays are like the code we put in when we
Yeah.
came into this world. So my birthday is October 28th, 1996. So when I wanted to come in, I put in 10281996. And that's the code that brought me here at that time for a specific reason, because that's where all the planets were when I wanted to come here. So with astrology, you have a natal chart, and your natal chart is where all the planets were when you were born. And it just goes ahead and tells you what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, because where the planets are all have a specific meaning, and they all have specific degrees that create the person you are. So that's what's been helping me find my purpose and let go of what I used to be and become what I'm meant to be now.
That's powerful.
Yeah, but yeah, if you don't are into astrology or like don't know your natal chart or whatever, it's all inside of you. Like you said, the guy with the keys and the light, like it's in the house.
Yeah, it's in the house. That's awesome.
It's about tapping in.
It's about tapping in. And yeah, like you really are. Yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah. Once I started tapping in, that's when I found astrology. So like once you start tapping in, the tools will just fall into place around you.
And you'll just feel that, like when you look up, it's like I've been going outside like way more. Like when you're in school, it's very hard to go outside, honestly. Like when you're in school like all day, and then like you have after school, but it's just like that scheduled life and everything. And I've been way more connected to nature recently. And just like, and like sunrises, sunsets, like the stars at night, just I've been way more connected. And like over the summer, going to the beach and stuff, and being in the woods and everything. This whole year, just traveling, and like I want to continue to travel, and just mountains and desert. Everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, especially the beach. I feel like that's the best place to be, because like you're grounding and it doesn't even like feel intentional. It's just so relaxed and like
chill. And you just sink in, your feet just sink into the sand. You feel like so like welcomed by the earth,
Yeah.
And once you to be a part of it, and you are a part of it.
Yeah.
We literally wouldn't be here. Like, everything we like, think about like all like the plant, vegetable, fruits and vegetables you eat, and all the water, and it all keeps you alive, and you are that thing. Like
Yeah. Yep. It's that
all the
synergy.
food you consume is what you become. Like
You
it's
are what
just
you eat.
yeah.
See, like
It's
all the
just
little cliche
yeah,
terms are like
yeah,
so true and they're so simple.
yeah. You are what you eat has evolved for me. I think for everybody. Like when you're a little kid and they tell you are you eat, you're like, oh, so I'm literally a hot dog or something. But like, nah, you just like your cells and everything like start to like become that because that's what you eat. That's what keeps you alive and gets in your blood and everything, and you really become that thing. Or
Hmm.
like if you drink alcohol or like smoke weed or do any drug, like you become that. You become what you are. And
Yeah.
like with alcohol and spirits and stuff like that, like you know, you know
Yeah, I
about that.
read somewhere that alcohol is like some type of demon. Like literally the word alcohol, it means something in another language that's like demon or something like that. And then even like you said, spirits, like it's called wine and spirits.
Mm-hmm. Of
And it's like once you really look at the words and what they mean, and like a lot of the times they're right in front of our face, what it actually is and what it's doing.
course it is.
It's
It's always right
crazy.
in front of your face.
Yeah.
That's how everything gets away with itself because it's like right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm. Hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I
Even
just
that
learned.
that phrase like hidden in plain sight is a funny phrase.
Yeah. Oh, now that you mentioned that, like I was gonna wear my glasses like on this call, but like recently I just keep hearing walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
So like I could barely see you right now, and it's really helping me like tap into like your energy and like focus on what I want to say.
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah. Sometimes I close my eyes and like really just like you gotta like when you meditate and you close your eyes and like I think sight and your eyes are one of the biggest distractions because yeah, like it's what shows you everything outside of yourself, and it's the biggest
Yep.
distraction that gets you out of your body.
I
So
actually heard a blind person say that too.
yeah.
He was
Wow.
like, "You seeing people are really the ones you can't see."
Wow.
Right?
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah. That's what I realized. Like, and I used to think like being blind was such a disability or something like that. And then like recently, like probably like past year, I realized that like once I more started closing my eyes and like I realized like, oh, maybe and blind people can see in a different way. And then your other senses get you tap into your other senses more and your hearing and all that stuff. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have more than five senses too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cause
many
like me
senses.
feeling your energy, yeah, I feel like that's not sight. I guess it might be like touch. It's not touch. It's not
Uh,
hearing. Not
cause it's
taste.
not physical. It's like 3D to 5D,
Yeah, and me
There's
just saying that, I feel like I'm vibrating higher right now.
yeah,
Like you know that vibrating high feeling when you start like tingling.
yeah.
That's what I'm feeling right now. Electricity going.
It's getting like all like laggy and stuff now too. We're messing with the tech.
Mm.
That's
Yep.
powerful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's
Uh,
powerful.
yeah. Honestly, somebody brought this to my attention. It was actually one of my manifestation coaches. And she told me that we are all electromagnetic beings and that our brain runs on like electric currents and stuff, like running through our brain. And she said the craziest thing to me, she's like, look back at what you learned in school. How much did you learn about your brain? And I could not think of anything besides that I have a brain. So the
Yeah,
fact
probably
that
like your
our
brain
brain,
and like maybe some of like the different areas of it and stuff like that. But
yeah,
our education sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, like how we don't learn about the whole thing
And
that
like
runs
just
our
anything
whole
public
life.
sucks, really. Anything public sucks.
Mm.
And like I don't know. It's like
That's funny you
the
said that.
tragedy of the commons, it's called. Just like that idea, like anything, like that's like parks get like all like litter and stuff, but like you think about your house, like you wouldn't let like a bunch of trash just on your front lawn, but like no one cares about the park. And that's what people talk about, like private property and stuff. And I know some people like, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I was
that's what I
thinking of
think.
public
Like, I
bathrooms.
think it's important to have like your own space. I'm not saying like maybe we could do it in a way more like vibrating higher way of like you don't need to use money. Like maybe we're just like we all come together and realize we're on this earth together and we're all equal. And like it would be like, oh, you have that land over there, like a way more like civilized, like a real civilized way, like we're living like savages. And like that's what people talk about, like the colonizers of the world, like they came to America with the indigenous and just like Africa, all this colonization, like they said like they were so civilized, but really they were like the savages and like shitting in the street and stuff like that. And these sacred cultures were way more in tune and way more spiritually advanced and
Yeah.
probably even technologically advanced. So
Yeah, there's like pictures of microchips in the pyramids, like all the
ancient
pyramids.
Sumerians with amazing text that's still here today.
Yeah. Yep. And
All the
there's gold
information just out
paintings.
there for yourself. And that's why I like doing this podcast, just to show people that you can find stuff just through two people talking, like doing the podcast. And people ask me like how I learned all this stuff, and it's just like go out in the world, or like once you are open to things, they'll start coming to you. And that's what I realized too. Just like the people that start coming to your life and all this stuff, and you start realizing like, oh, and it feels like the universe. And recently I've been realizing it's just me, like it's just one collective consciousness. So I am everybody, every human, like I am them. They're just me in another body. And like, but not me, like we're all God. Like it's not like it's not like I, Wesley Andrews, I'm God. I am God. It's just God. It's not even any I, it's just God. Just
Yeah, we're all God.
yeah.
It's just different parts of you. Like even you, like you're God, you're a creator. This podcast is part of you. And like, you know, like when people see you later, rewatching this podcast, that's part of you.
Yeah.
And that's what we are for God. It's like people are going to rewatch this podcast later and you're going to be off doing your own thing, but that's still you there.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with God. Like we're God's creations. God's off doing God's thing, but we're here doing this, and it's all part of God.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I use Dr. Bronner soap, and it's like, have you ever read a Dr. Bronner soap bottle?
Don't they have like a lot of like words on it, right?
Yeah.
It's like says like all like facts and stuff, right?
It's talking about what we're talking about, just that we're all one, and that you should treat your enemy like your friend because your enemy is you. So if you hurt your enemy, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah. My friend and I were talking today, like he was just talking about he got hurt in high school and like going in the hallways like in a wheelchair and crutches, like you feel like everyone's like looking at you and like, you know, because you're just different. And we were talking about like in reality, like no one really probably cared, you know, like just like they like look at you for like a second and then they go back to like all their other problems that they're worrying about and stuff like that, you know. So and I was just saying like it's all mindset. Like if you think everyone's like looking at you and like criticizing you, like what do you think about yourself? Like that means really you're like so overly critical of yourself and all that stuff. So
yeah, I suffer from that for sure.
Yeah. You're good. What's up?
I suffer from that for sure.
Yeah.
And I actually had a breakthrough yesterday about it real quick. Like that overly criticalness of yourself is you in survival mode, not creation mode. Because when you're in survival mode, you have to be hypercritical because that's your life.
Do or die.
Exactly. So you have to be. But once you get out of that survival mode and start living and be in creation mode, you can just let that go.
Yeah, you can create. When you're in creation mode, you can mess up, and like Bob Ross, like there's no mistakes, it's just happy accidents. Like when you're in creation mode, like you can just go with the flow, like it doesn't matter. Like just when we were doing this podcast, like we were in creation mode, like there was things like when we first started it, before we started recording, I couldn't hear your audio, you know, but we just like, we weren't like, oh, we were just like, all right, like let's figure it out, like, you know. So you just gotta stay in creation mode and go with the flow. I like that a lot.
And I'm happy we're talking about this because I'm like so fidgety right now, and I think it's because I'm in the flow state. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like I had some C4, and I haven't had any of that. Like, I just been like meditating, started my day meditating, eating high vibe foods. I had a ginger shot. This is some chlorophyll water. I just dropped some green stuff in there, and like it feels really great.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is like that. Like one time on his podcast, this is like, he's like, I mean, he's always kind of controversial just because the mainstream media doesn't like him because he created his own empire. That's my only comment on that. But like, this is before, he's been kind of controversial recently. Like, I don't even really want to talk about that. But before, he was just talking about like, he was just talking about like his life, and he was just like, he's all into like health and all that stuff and working out, and he was just talking about like all the supplements he was on, and his eyes got all wide, and he was just like, it feels great. And I was like, I bet it does, like just being like nourished.
Yo, it really
like
does.
actually nourished, you know. No,
Right.
We're not living to our pure potential, you know.
Yo, and real quick, when you just said that, this what came to my mind. So I'm trying to say everything that comes to my mind and just be in that flow state. So like, I was talking to somebody about tall people, and they were like, tall people don't really live that long. Like most tall people don't live long. And I was like, that's because they're trying to live life as short people. Like, think about it. A supplement, it has like take 2 a day. And that's for the average person. But a tall person, like a super tall person, is not the average person. So if they're taking 2 a day for a small person, they're not going to be as nourished as they're supposed to be for who they are. So that's where like the going within comes too, because like you can't listen to what somebody else tells you to do, because that's for them.
You know it's best for yourself.
You have to know for yourself. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I've been realizing. Just like know what's best for myself, and like it might not be the popular route, you know, you go down in life, but if that's what you feel is best for you, then you go down that route, because you know that that's best for you, because that means that's best for you to go down that route.
Right. And you have to, because that's the only way you're going to elevate and walk in your power.
Yeah. And that's all I'm about right now, is elevating, really. Because I realized recently, like, I'm very grateful for like where I'm at, but I realized like I'm not where I could be. Like we could all be vibrating so much higher. Like I realized like I'm still like stuck in the 3D negative stuff, and even like even if you're like, oh, you are. Yeah, even if you're like, yeah, and even if you're like, even if you think you're like something, I was just like, I was talking about like spirituality and everything, like, and I think it like reflects in the news and stuff. Like I don't think we're like spiritually in a good, like all the wars and like I don't think the earth is spiritually in that great of a place. And like so like even if I'm like, oh, I like criticize that, and I'm like, oh, that's not good, like I'm still like above that. I think I was talking to you about that earlier, kind of just like how you feel like even if you feel like you're above all the negativity and all the corrupt people in the world, you know, like you're still a part, like going back to like we're all one, and like love your enemy because that's you. Like even if you feel like you're above any corrupt person or somebody like right now, like in the world, your political like enemies, like you are them. And like so that's, and realizing that has helped me elevate a lot. and not like being like super angry. Because that's something I wrote down in my journal too. Like there's no justified resentments. Like I don't think like, and this like it's like hard to say because like, but like I don't think there's any reason like to hate somebody. Like once you get to that spiritual level of thinking, like there's no reason to ever hate somebody, like no matter what they do. Like, and just super big picture, like it may suck as a human being, and like super like philosophical, like big picture, like there's no justified resentments.
Yeah, because once you have that resentment, it's just you're creating it in your mind, and that's that negativity on you. But once you care about yourself and uplift yourself, you realize that that's just bringing you down. Once you let it go, then you can elevate.
Yeah.
Rise above.
Rise above. I wonder how long we've been doing this for.
Yo, we could talk all day.
Yeah.
Like for real, it's so much.
We could. It's amazing.
I like how we did this, just like going up like what came to mind instead of like having a set plan.
Yeah. Something I want to say though is don't die with the music in you.
Don't die with what?
The music in you. I feel like when you were talking about like the flow state and stuff, and you were like, "Oh, I just want to say these things because it's like it's what you want to talk about," and you were like, "Oh, I want to keep this energy going." So I feel like that's what "don't die with the music still in you" means. Like, don't go on your deathbed and be like, "Oh, I regret this. I regret this I might not live the best life. I might not have done life right." Like you don't want to live with regrets.
It makes me feel like I heard this person say like sleep is the closest thing to death that we have.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out here with insomnia and like they can't sleep. And I think it's because they're trying to go to sleep with the music still in them for that day.
Mm.
And it's just like they can't sleep because there's so much they should have been doing that they can still do.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. And you saying like don't die with the music in you, I just picture somebody like walking around like singing and like leaving this musical trail behind them.
Wow.
And then it's like when it's time to die, the musical trail is all out. It's kind of like a tape. Like the tape.
Yeah.
When you can die with your tape like all out.
That's amazing. All right. My laptop and stuff's about to die, but I feel like this has definitely been my longest podcast and stuff so far. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So
it was great doing this with you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being a part of it. It's awesome. So awesome.
Wow, somebody's calling me right now too.
All right.
Can you see me?
Nah, I can't see you.
Yeah, someone's calling. All right, brother. Peace. I love you.
I love you too. Peace.
Keep being your best positive self. God loves you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty. Bye.
She's out of here. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been real. Peace.